There's a question almost every artist eventually asks themselves: which way of learning to draw is actually the right one? Life drawing, figure drawing, concept art, Loomis, Bridgman, Reilly. So many paths, so many voices, all confidently telling you theirs is the one that works. And if you've ever felt confused or exhausted trying to figure out which one to trust, I want you to know something gently before we even begin. You are not lost because you're doing something wrong. You are lost because you were handed too many maps and no one ever told you they were drawn for different journeys. Let's slow down and look at this together. Let's start with life drawing. When you sit in front of a real person, a real object, a real space, and you draw only what is actually there, you are training something very specific. Not talent, not magic. You are training raw observation. The way light actually falls across a real shoulder, the way fabric actually folds under its own weight, the way a real human face is never quite symmetrical, never quite what memory expects it to be. This is what we might call ground truth. It is slow, it is humbling, it rarely feels impressive in the moment, but it quietly corrects something that almost every self-taught artist eventually drifts away from, especially artists who mostly study other artists' work instead of the real world. Without life drawing, style has nothing solid underneath it. With life drawing, even a wildly stylized character can still feel believable, because somewhere underneath the exaggeration, there is truth. Now, let's talk about figure drawing and gesture. This is a different kind of training entirely, where life drawing asks, is this accurate? Gesture drawing asks, does this feel alive? Weight, balance, the line of energy that moves through a pose before any details exist at all. This is why figure drawing often looks loose, unfinished, almost careless at first glance. That looseness is not a mistake. It is the entire point, because a perfectly accurate drawing that has no sense of energy or weight will still feel stiff, lifeless, like a mannequin rather than a person. Gesture is what breathes life into structure, and this is important to sit with for a moment. Accuracy and life are not the same skill. You can have one without the other, which is why the strongest work usually comes from combining both, not choosing between them. Now, concept art, this one is different from the first two in a fundamental way. Life drawing and figure drawing are about capturing what already exists. Concept art is about inventing something that has never existed at all. A character, a creature, a world. Here, the questions change completely. Does this design read clearly, even as a small silhouette? Does this armor make sense? Could a body actually move in it? Does this character tell you who they are just by looking at them before they say a single word? Concept art borrows from both life drawing and gesture, but it adds something neither of them teaches on their own: intention, design, purpose. This is often where things quietly fall apart for a lot of self-taught artists. Because concept art often assumes the structural foundation is already there. If someone jumps straight into designing exciting characters without ever building real structural understanding underneath, the designs might look striking from one angle and fall apart completely the moment you try to turn them or pose them differently. So, 3 disciplines. Life drawing gives you truth. Figure drawing gives you life. Concept art gives you purpose. None of them replace each other. They layer quietly on top of one another. Now let's talk about something people confuse with these disciplines, but which is actually something else entirely. Construction methods, Loomis, Bridgman, Reilly. These are not disciplines, they are tools invented by individual artists to solve their own individual struggles. The Loomis method breaks the head down into a simple sphere with a flat plane cut for the jaw. It is elegant, fast to learn, wonderful for idealized heroic proportions, which is part of why it became so popular in the illustration and comics, but it has a quiet limitation. Loomis was already a highly skilled illustrator when he created it. The method gives you his conclusions, but not the reasoning underneath them. Someone without prior anatomical understanding can follow every Loomis step correctly and still produce a head that feels strangely generic. Technically correct, but a little hollow. This has a quiet advantage that matters more than people realize. Flat, straight edges follow simple, predictable rules of perspective as they rotate. Curved surfaces do not. Curved surfaces ask you to intuit foreshortening, almost guessing at each new angle. This is why so many artists, after struggling to keep a character consistent across different angles, eventually find their way to Bridgman-style planar construction, not because Loomis is wrong, but because Bridgman happens to directly solve a problem Loomis was never designed to solve. Then there is the Reilly method. Reilly is quieter, more rhythmic, focused on the sweeping, connected lines of energy that flow through the ribcage and pelvis, the twist and counter-twist of a moving body. It is not really about hard geometric masses at all. It is about capturing a kind of visual music, the rhythm underneath a pose. Reilly complements figure and gesture drawing beautifully. But if your struggle is specifically about drawing the same head consistently from multiple angles, Reilly was simply never built to answer that particular question. There are others worth knowing gently as well. The Hampton method, a more modern systemized take on planar construction, popular in contemporary character art education. The Villepeu method, which blends gesture and volume together, well regarded specifically for figure work. And looser, more exploratory approaches often used in concept art pipelines, valuing fast, rough construction over precise, committed lines. Because in that context, speed and iteration matter more than early accuracy. Here is the important calming truth underneath all of this. None of these methods are the best in some absolute universal sense. Each one was built by a real person, solving a real specific problem they personally struggled with. Loomis solved fast, idealized heads for commercial illustration deadlines. Bridgman solved anatomical rigor for rigorous academic figure training. Reilly solved rhythm and life for figure drawing that felt stiff. None of them were trying to be everything for everyone, forever. They were solving their own bottleneck. And then, years later, their solution became a method that beginners are handed, often with no context about what specific problem it was ever meant to solve. This is why so much confusion happens, not because you're choosing the wrong one, but because no one told you these were specialized tools, not universal laws. The real skill, the one that quietly matters more than any single method, is learning to notice honestly what you are actually struggling with right now, and then choosing the tool that was built for that exact problem. Struggling with energy and life in a pose, gesture and Reilly-style rhythm will help more than rigid geometry ever could. Struggling with keeping a character's head consistent across angles, planar, Bridgman-style construction will likely help more than a smooth, idealized sphere. There's no single answer that fits every person, every struggle, every moment in their growth. And that is not a flaw in the system. That is simply what mastering something complex actually looks like from the inside. Now let's gently widen the lens even further. Because methods and disciplines are only part of the picture. There's the way fundamentals are usually taught, isolated, repetitive, disconnected from anything the learner actually loves. And when practice feels like this, endless drills for some distant future reward, it becomes very easy to quietly give up long before the reward ever arrives. There's the emotional weight of comparison, standing your early effortful attempts next to someone else's years of invisible practice and feeling like you're behind when you were never comparing like in the first place. There's this strange quiet toxicity that can grow inside online art communities where attention becomes the currency, and somewhere along the way, mutual support can turn into quiet competition, envy, or silence from those who could help the most. And there's taste, medium, style, the simple truth that no single method can ever fully address, because structure and taste live on two entirely different layers. A method can teach you how a form rotates in space It was never going to tell you what you personally find beautiful. All of these threads, the fatigue, the disciplines, the methods, the communities, the endless comparison, they all come back to the same quiet center. Learning to draw is not one simple skill. It is many different skills. No single teacher, no single approach, no single video, including this one, will ever be the complete answer. And that is not a discouraging thing to hear. It is actually a relief if you let it be, because it means the frustration you felt was never proof that you were doing something wrong. It was simply proof that you were standing inside something genuinely complex. I've been trying, honestly, to make sense of it. So if you are somewhere in the middle of all this right now, unsure which method to trust and tired from practice that feels endless, quietly comparing yourself to people whose full story you'll never see, please hear this gently. You do not need to master everything at once. You do not need to pick the one true method and follow it perfectly forever. You only need to notice, honestly, what you are struggling with today and take one small patient step toward it. And that is all any of this ever asks of you. Not perfection, not speed, just one honest step taken with patience over and over for as long as it takes. You are allowed to move slowly. You are allowed to change methods when one no longer serves you. You are allowed to rest when the weight of it all becomes too heavy to carry for a while. None of that makes you any less of an artist. It only makes you someone who is genuinely, honestly learning, and that quietly is more than enough. Take care of yourself, and whenever you're ready, come back to the page. Before you go, I want to leave you with one thought. If you're a beginner who's struggling, please don't believe that you're the only one. I love drawing, and I've walked through the same frustration, the same self-doubt, and the same moments of wanting to give up. That's exactly why I make these videos, because I want every artist who feels stuck to know that progress isn't reserved for the talented. It's built one sketch at a time. If this video made your journey feel even a little lighter, I'd really appreciate your support. Leave a like, tell me about your drawing journey in the comments, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. If you're watching on TikTok, a follow, like, and share would mean the world to me. Every bit of support helps me keep creating free lessons for artists just like us. Thank you for drawing alongside me, and I'll see you in the next sketch.